Today we're going to take a look at a growing and increasingly significant problem in our society as we head towards this hollow and plastic new age of self-love and anti-Christ. And that is the infestation of the Jezebel spirit of narcissistic manipulation and subversion in the lives of a growing number of people. And its traits can sometimes be found also in men, but this spirit, according to the Bible, is more common in women. And we can hardly be surprised at its increase due to the huge amount of propaganda that encourages this type of behaviour. These trends in our modern day society are leading towards the ultimate agenda of the demasculinization of men whilst nurturing a false and counterfeit masculinity in women. The traditional male is being shunned, whilst propaganda to enable this type of behaviour in women within the realm of the Jezebel spirit and its traits is being pushed. Okay, so the idea of this video is to help people who find themselves caught in this situation. In particular, this goes out to the men out there, but as I said, this isn't a flesh and blood battle. Primarily, this is a spiritual battle. So we're not talking about individuals necessarily, but this may have come into your life in a spiritual way before. And ultimately, here we're looking at the social, psychological and spiritual paradigms of this behaviour. You've got the Jezebel spirit, the person being used by this Jezebel spirit. Well, first and foremost, you enter into a relationship with them and you form some kind of tie. You form some kind of tether with this individual. And that can be called a soul tie. Very often with this type of person, it will be an extremely deep-reaching soul tie. And that's part of the whole thing. So the paramount reason for this is that they put you into a safety or security box. And that requires your submission. So in speaking of the modern day agendas, just hypothetically here, the Jezebel, the lady, the Jezebel woman here, puts you as the man into a box. So you end up, and she wants you to submit to her. The reason she puts you in the safe zone is so that she has a guaranteed supply. In the narcissistic sense, it's all about psychological, psychic vampirism, and it's about having an easy source of supply to be fed psychologically with whether it be attention or whatever, usually. Keeping you in that box requires quite a few tactics, and I'm not going to cover all of them here, but I'm going to show you a few of them and you might relate to them. And one of them is mind games. So keeping you in a sense of confusion, playing mind games with you. Another one would be push and pull, hot and cold, and idealise and discard. So the idea of this, so say with push and pull and hot and cold, it's like kneading a bit of dough. So they'll give you loads of attention, then take it away. They'll give you loads of admiration, then take it away. Idealise, then discard. They'll make you feel like you are the on top of the world, that you are number one in all existence, and then they'll take that away in the next breath. So it's pushing and pulling. It's a form of keeping your attention, making you addicted, and as I said, it's like kneading a piece of dough back and forth until they make it into the shape that they want it, which is ultimately you fully focused on them and fully serving them. And the ultimate agenda, the shape they want to make out of that dough, so to speak, is this: submission. Another form of keeping you in this box is gaslighting. Now, gaslighting is by definition selectively spinning information or events or scenarios that happen, selectively spinning them or omitting parts of them in order to keep you confused. So say you think you perceive something, you're almost adamantly sure that you perceived something in a certain way that you saw it, and you're 99% sure, then they will spin that. They will spin that to make you doubt your very own perception in the end, by the end of it. To doubt your very own perception, to doubt yourself as much as possible, to keep you in this box. So gaslighting is basically twisting the truth or twisting stories just to further elevate this sense of confusion and bewilderment and disillusionment so that you remain trapped, just lost in absolute bewilderment. Another form of keeping you in there is sexual temptation. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, really. Sexual, especially with guys, not just guys, but sexual temptation, a big thing that may keep someone trapped in that box. So to them, fully knowing all these things, knowing what they're doing, by the way, knowing that they're doing this, everyone has traits of sin in them, but when we're speaking about a narcissistic personality disorder, this is all that individual would be about when it's a personality disorder. Carrying on, another form is to undermine or insult. The reason being for undermining and insulting, well, insulting, obviously, it lessens your self-esteem. To insult, but to undermine would be to take away the validity of your opinion, even. If someone's going to undermine everything you believe in or undermine everything of your character, then you're not going to have the same grounds or strength to stand against this subversion of you into their box, into their trap. So you lose your confidence. You lose your strength to climb out. And that further increases low self-esteem and insecurity. So another one would be to depersonify and to mirror. So when you depersonify someone, again, you're taking away their character. And if you're mirroring them, you're copying them. So in a sense, you're extracting all that they have. You're extracting who they are, who they believe they are, who they've grown up to be, and their talents or gifts or whatever. You're essentially extracting that and stealing that from them. You're mirroring them. So they're no longer unique. They're no longer a unique person. And also another way that this spirit will do it is that they will project themselves onto you, or by mimicking you, by mimicking your traits, you actually would start to fall in love with what you see in the mirror. If you catch my drift, you would actually start to fall in love with your own traits that they are mirroring, because someone who is totally consumed by this Jezebel spirit or by narcissistic personality disorder, they don't really have much to show for themselves, as they are almost an empty vessel. And it's a very strange one to comprehend, and I'm going to do another video on this afterwards in the future, a bit more about how and why. The inner core is so empty from years of abuse or however it's come about, that they are in desperate need to feed their inner core, which is complete emptiness. And finally, the ultimate goal of this Jezebel spirit is to steal, kill and destroy. And all of these things round that box there, all of these things are pushing in on you, all working together at once. And you can just imagine the torment that people could go through if they're totally surrounded by these emotional control mechanisms and blackmails. And then Jezebel is forming a stronger and stronger tether, soul tie and bond the more you go through this, and you become more and more addicted to that. You become more and more dependent on that. And in this situation, you would be in complete disarray, tossed and turned at every corner by this emotional manipulation. So you're getting further and further trapped in this box. And there's two main ways that this narcissistic spirit thing would work. One is through covert manipulation, and another is through overt bullying. So it could either work through covert manipulation, which would be they would wear a mask, a cloak of light, and it would be to everyone else they would seem like the sweetest person ever, the nicest person ever, really popular, all that kind of thing. And they would often seem like the victim themselves. The Jezebel would make everyone around it think that it is the victim and you are the bully. It's another form of manipulating others' perceptions. It's all perception deception. So the Jezebel gets bigger and bigger, and you would get smaller and smaller. But what is actually happening is it's actually forming a web around you. Through all of this, it's like an emotional maze. This is like an emotional net that is forming around you when you're caught in this. And if you don't cut the tether, this is all being fed in its demonic way. This is a spiritual thing. So it's forming an emotional net around you, a web. And there's a very good reason for that, because the Jezebel spirit is referred to as the black widow spider that feeds on its own mate. So you're literally, look how it's pretty creepy when you think about it, because it's literally catching you in this web here, and it's a black widow spider that will come to steal, kill and destroy. So this is dangerous. And not only that, but this is a complete distraction from God. Because you're caught in this demonic web and net here, and you need Jesus Christ to set you free. We need Jesus Christ to set us free when we face situations like this, because this is a demonic attack. And it literally has built the web. Like we even speak about the web of the Antichrist that's growing. And certainly in this time we are seeing a rise of this Jezebel spirit behaviour. So I've written under the Jezebel there, black magic, spell casting and projection. The Jezebel is an illusionist. The Jezebel is a con artist. The narcissist is a con artist, an illusionist. They project an illusion of something they're not. They're wearing a mask, a cloak of light. And it's pretty interesting. So I'm told the word glamour actually goes back to an Old English, which is to do with black magic. So it's casting love spells. It's casting spells. This is a spell cast. This is a wand. It's spell casting you into this trap. It's making you infatuated and addicted to it. You've allowed it permission through the back door, through its covert means, and it has garnered this hold on you through its tactics. It's very, very sneaky. So as time goes on in this unhealthy relationship, you see that you in this relationship shrink, and Jezebel increases. She gains more and more control over you through these covert means. And these soul ties are a big part of that, sort of saying that, making you believe that you need them to survive. You need them, when in actual fact it's the other way around, because they've got you in their web and feeding off you in that way, and emotionally manipulating in that way, in so many ways, that they make you believe the opposite. Everything is opposite. Everything is upside down, remember? They propagandize themselves like a political agenda, like a political party. They make you believe the propaganda that comes with it. They permit themselves to cause harm. when it's someone who is completely consumed by this, they've permitted themselves to cause this harm to you. You must toe the party line, or all hell will break loose. If you don't comply, if you're in this and you refuse to comply with exactly what all of this is about, if you refuse to comply, then you could have a narcissistic rage on your hands. You could set off a time bomb. So you have to toe the line. You have to toe the political agenda of this entity in order to find any sort of security, feeling of security or peace in this paradigm. You have to toe its line, and you have to believe its propaganda, and you have to comply with what it's doing, because it's all about treating the Jezebel like it's God. So when it's got you in this web, when it's got you trapped in this in its safety box, what is the next agenda? What is it that Jezebel wants then? Is it satisfied with that? No. Because the Jezebel wants admiration from legions of people. It isn't true love. This isn't a true love paradigm. It's a very unhealthy, mentally sick paradigm that's been created here. So it's not about you being the true love of the Jezebel. It's about keeping you in the safety box, and then it goes to the legions of other people. If the person is truly being controlled by the Jezebel spirit, then they will want more attention. They've got their supply from you. That's built them up. Great. They've got their little lifeline there going to your little box in the web. And then they want to turn to the legions of other people for further feeding, further attention. And again, this is a form of witchcraft. Remember, this is black magic and spell casting and projection. This is psychic vampirism. This is about the cloak of light. So they want to be looked, for example, look but don't touch. Look at me but don't touch. They want to be admired. They want attention. They want to be drooled over. They want worship. It's a sense of grandiosity. They want further validation. They've got you in the safety box, and now they want validation from others. They want people to think you can't have me. They want to dangle themselves and for others to want them, but they can't have them because they've got a partner. But that doesn't excuse seeking to be yearned after in that way. They want to be wanted. They want a narcissistic supply from the legions of people. They want to engage in psychic vampirism. They want to feed off of that attention. This is demonic activity, using people, using this person as a shell, as a puppet, literally just using them like a puppet. So what this ends up as is that the person, or you, stuck in this net, sees that their attention, the attention that should be given to you, that you deserve in a mutual relationship, the love and attention you deserve in a mutual relationship, 100 between you both. This attention that she should be giving you is being dispersed in some spectrum to the legions of other people. And what does that do? That further adds to the self-doubt of the person who's trapped. That further adds to the low self-esteem. Why am I not good enough for this Jezebel? Why am I not good enough for this person I'm in a relationship with or a marriage with? So then that further adds to the spiral, the downward spiral of being undermined, having insecurity, low self-esteem, losing yourself to them, and push and pull because, they go hot on you, they idealize you, then they discard you by going somewhere else. And you witness all of that. So it all ties into this energy grid. And what are they stuck in? This giant web of a black widow spider that comes to steal, kill and destroy its mate. And do some still think this isn't spiritual? Is this even possible on a human level to this extent? And the ultimate thing is of why it's spiritual too, is because once this person sadly is stuck here, once you are stuck there, you cannot really even see God anymore, because you are surrounded by demons and you've given permission, you've allowed yourself, even unknowingly, subconsciously, to open gateways for this to happen. It won't change. Pray for the person, but you need to get out. You need to sever this tie. You need to sever it. Because this person, if they are an all-out Jezebel spirit, if they are controlled by that, then the whole thing that you fell in love with in the first place was a mirage in the desert. It was never real. It was just a projection. And I know that can be so painful to realise and to process in your mind that what you fell in love with was a lie. And it wasn't even really them. You will mourn the loss. You will mourn the loss of what you thought you had. You will mourn the loss of who you thought you knew. Through these things, through these wilderness experiences, where we go through all manner of trials and tests, we learn that God truly does love us more than anyone in this world. And no human being is worth idolising. None at all, because God is the only truth. And if we truly seek him, he will be our best friend and the love of our life. Jesus himself.